I'm going to spruce up the player death a little bit. So I'm going to go to the level, and I'm going to insert a new object, a sprite, into the game layer, and I'm going to load the laser wasp. Open. The reason I'm doing this, I'm creating like a separate sprite to act as a separate object, so that when the player dies, it turns into the player death sprite, and there's things I can do with that, and it just means I don't have to disable the controls and kind of stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is let's just get rid of that with the marquee tool, Control X, and then I'm going to crop it and make sure that the origin point is in the middle. I'm going to rotate it so it faces the right way. It's not going to be animated, this. And change the angle to 270. So it's facing up. I'm going to rename this player death. I'm going to assign that with a behavior which is going to be destroy outside of layout, so that'll get rid of the reference object when the layer loads, and then give it bullet behavior, because I want it to sort of slow down. So I'm going to set it to negative value of 50, and in the in the player hit points, when it's destroyed, I want the action to the system to create the object player death. Okay, and it wants to be on layer 3 where the player was on player X and player Y. Done. So let's just check that. So when I die, okay, what I need to do is go to the player death and set angle no, so it's facing the right direction. And what I want it to do is add another condition, which is system, and where have we gone? Every tick. I want to decrease the player death size so player death, oh no, sound self dot width minus delta time multiplied by 20, and I want to do the same for height. Where's self dot height minus delta time minus 20. Done. So it'll create the player death object, and then every tick it's going to shrink down in size. I also want it to rotate clockwise by dt multiplied by, let's try 200, and then ultimately I want to compare player death compare height, and if height is less than or equal to 0, then player death is destroyed. So this should now, once the health has reached 0, it will turn into the player death object, and it will move forward slowly and spin round and shrink. he says. Perfect. So to this, I'm going to add the engine flame particle effect. So, as well as creating the object player death, I want to create another condition here, which is player death is on screen. Create engine part player player death dot x. Oh, I've put this in the wrong one there. Hang on. Control X, Control V, Control V. Change that to Y. Layer 3. So it's going to create this engine effect, which I use for thrust effect on the player character. So I'm going to do that for the death as well. So it looks like it's spinning with fire coming out of it. And as long as it's on screen, I want to set the engine particle. Where's it gone? Set the angle of that particle system to player death angle minus 180. So let's have a quick look at that. Yeah. So I also want to add an explosion, so I'm going to use this blood thing at the bottom. So when the player's height, the player death height reaches less than 0 and it's destroyed, I also want to create an object which is blood 2, the explosion kind of thing, layer 3, and again player death X, player death Y. And I also want to add a sound to this. If I go to sounds, import sounds, and I've got a sound called shot down og. Let's open that up, import. Okay. So when the player HP reaches less than 0, it's destroyed, creates a player death sprite. I also want to play the audio shot down. It's not looping. I don't need to switch off because it'll just end. And hopefully I've timed it right. Let's have a look. Ooh, it just needs a little bit out. Just need to tweak it a bit more. So instead of saying that's 20, let's set that 16. Let's see what this does. Yay! That's spot on, or close enough anyway. I mean, this is not the best way of doing it. It's a bit hit and miss, but I mean, you could do it so that it plays the sort of part on this bit of audio, and then when it explodes, stop that bit of audio and play the explosion sound. But I've done it like this anyway.